Hi everybody, and thanks for joining me today. So I'm continuing to work on the peacock's wing feathers. Yeah. Haven't got to the tail feathers yet. I probably will this month, I'm thinking, but I don't think I'm going to finish this pass. I think that, yeah, that is probably more than I can manage. And again, as you can see, not working fully diagonal, got kind of a, I guess you could almost say I'm feathering it. Bad pun intended. Yeah. Yeah, just because of the way the colors flow, I just kind of keep working up and down along it where it makes sense to me. So, yeah, I'm kind of working out to about row 370 there, and then I'll be moving the whole thing over. Yeah, the feathers kind of go across quite a lot of columns, so it's further than I like to reach with my top arm. So yeah, I find I work about 6 columns and then move the frame again. That's what I found has been comfortable for me, at least on this, which is 14 count. If I was stitching on a higher count, then yeah, I would go more columns. And when I do 18 count, it's more like 8 or 9 columns, but I usually don't get that much done per month on that one, yeah. Because, yeah, it's not my main piece, and it's a lot more stitches. Over 500,000. Yeah, I saw someone in the Heaven and Earth Designs Facebook group. They finished one of the supersize max color Amy Stewart designs, so over 700,000 stitches. Like, holy cow. Yeah, those are a big commitment, because not only are they so many stitches, but that is an artist that has an incredible amount of detail in her work. Yeah, like they say, some patterns, Heaven and Earth Designs does a mini version, and sometimes it turns out good, but sometimes, yeah, like those incredibly detailed ones, I feel like it's worth doing the bigger size because it does lose a lot. Yeah, I find the minis work well if you have more of, like, say, one big figure as a focus point in the piece, then yeah. But if you have one with tons of little details, then some of them, of course, do get lost. So it's all a matter of preference, because I do say what they call a mini is what a lot of other a lot of other designers call a normal size. So yeah, your mileage may vary. Yeah, unfortunately they experienced a big personal loss. So yeah, they said they're putting orders for material packs are on hold for the moment, which I completely understand. They're grieving, so yeah, they are still doing the patterns because obviously those are easier, right? Once they're up on the website, people just pay to download them. So yeah, I caved and I bought another pattern on Patreon, and I think it's not available anymore, unfortunately. Yeah. But yeah, it's called Companions, and it's a woman with a lion in, like, almost all shades of blue. Yeah, it really caught my eye, and so I don't know if I'll ever stitch it, but I had to get it. Yeah, because it was too beautiful to pass up. So I realized after I bought it that it kind of cost the same as a month subscription where you get 2 patterns, so I should have just done that for at least a month and I could have canceled it if I didn't like anything else I saw, but I wasn't thinking, so yeah, I bought it already because it was like an extra $1 to do that. It's like, oh, I should have done that, but oh well. Yeah, so they have deals like you can be a free member, see the patterns, and you can buy them, or they have different tier levels. So the first one lets you have 2 patterns per month. The next one I think is 3, and then the last one gives you access to all of the patterns that they release per month, and they're limited, yeah, editions basically. They're only up for a month, and then once they're gone, they're retired. They did once bring back some old ones for a second time, but I don't think that's going to be a regular thing. Yeah. So, yeah, you have to act when you see them because, well, I say that too, but with their regular website too, you just never know. Sometimes things have to be retired without warning. They do try to give people warning, but you know, sometimes, yeah, the artist will just say, yeah, I'm pulling my licensing or whatever, and that means they have to stop selling them immediately. So, yeah. There are sales and stuff, but if I see something I really, really want, then I get it because, yeah, I don't want to be kicking myself later that I missed out. Because, yeah, they said that you can sell the hard copies if you haven't already stitched it, but you cannot transfer PDFs. Yeah, it's considered a copyright violation. Even if you haven't stitched it, yeah, it's basically for your personal use only. So, yeah, and I have been spoiled by Pattern Keeper. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to stitch from paper ever again. I was in luck. There were a couple patterns I bought from Etsy, and they didn't say that they were Pattern Keeper compatible, but they were, so yeah. Although nowadays, yeah, it's so well known that a lot of the designers will say if they're Pattern Keeper and, you know, markup compatible, and if they don't explicitly say it, you can email them and ask, and they'll usually, yeah, be pretty quick to get back to you. Yeah, because not every PDF will work with it. It needs to have certain coding in it so that the search features will work. Yeah, like each symbol has to have a certain coding so that it can be read by Pattern Keeper. Yeah. If it's just like a scan of a PDF, you can upload it and mark off stitches, but you cannot use the search if it doesn't have the embedded coding. So I'm not an expert because I'm not good at the computer stuff, but that's what I've been told. That much at least does make sense to me. So yeah, I kind of used to limit myself to buying stuff that I was sure I was going to stitch, but yeah, I've sort of gotten sucked in now. And it's like, but I like this pattern, I better get it because you just never know. Yeah. You never know when it'll be gone. Oh, that is not, yeah, look at that. Pierced it right in the center of that stitch. That is no good. Yeah, so I often say that collecting your crafting supplies and actually using them are not the same hobby. They're separate hobbies. Yeah, talking about tech stuff, I had to go and change some passwords because, yeah, I got a warning that some of them were involved in a data breach, so, yeah. It's a pain, but I'd rather do that than try to recover an account after somebody has managed to hack it, right? Yeah, that is definitely not what you want. Yeah, I do say that when you open an account anywhere, if they have 2-factor authorization, sign up for it right away. Yeah. Because, so like with a recovery email that's different than the one you signed up with, or where it'll have to text you a code to your phone that you put in to confirm it's you, or, you know, stuff like that. Yeah. It can be kind of a pain, but you know what? It's the whole ounce of prevention, right? Versus the pound of cure. Yeah. It's much better to deal with that than to have to try to regain access to an account that someone else has taken over. That can be a real nightmare. That thankfully has not happened to me, but yeah, I have seen it happen to other people, and it is definitely not something you want to deal with. It's much better to, yeah, give yourself that extra layer of protection. Yeah, I'm actually surprised there are some sites that still don't do it. Yeah, talking of other tech things, man, my phone was getting really full, even though I don't put a lot of stuff on there. I'm like, you know, if I download a podcast after I listen to it, I delete it. But I was discovering there were a lot of apps that had a lot of data in them. Like, one of my apps, the app itself was only like, you know, 200 megabytes, but it was taking up like 6 gigs on my phone. And yeah, I've discovered some of them, like podcasts especially, are bad for that. That even after you delete them from their phone, they're not really deleted. The only way I found to actually completely clear it was to uninstall and reinstall the app. Yeah. I tried rebooting my phone because sometimes that helps, but no, that didn't fix it. So I finally gave up and I uninstalled and reinstalled, and yeah, that did. So it went from taking up 6 gigs on my phone to taking up, you know, only half of one. So yeah, I find if there's any app that you use a lot, even when you delete stuff from it, it's still there, right? It basically just hides it, and but doesn't actually delete it until you actually uninstall the app itself completely. That it actually gets the message that, yes, I want this data deleted, you know? So yeah, like even my YouTube app was really bad for that. It was taking up like 5 gigs on my phone. And when your phone is only 64 gigs, like 5 gigs is a lot, right? And yeah, so I finally had to delete and reinstall the app. And it's kind of a pain to sign back in and all that. But yeah, like I said, it went from taking up like 5 gigs to taking up less than 1. So that was definitely a good way to clear some space. Yeah, it's kind of frustrating because, like they said, when you delete stuff, it doesn't really delete it a lot of the time. Like, there was that case recently in the news a few months ago where some people who had sold their old like iPads and stuff had personal pictures appear back in the even though they had factory reset the device. And like if you tried to recover those, yeah, good luck, right? But yeah, like they said, the only way to be sure that data is actually gone is for the hard drive to be physically destroyed. Yeah. Like a lot of times you'll delete the data and it will still actually be there until like the device needs more space to store stuff and it'll get overwritten, but like you can't really control that process very easily. Yeah. So like my husband is ex-military, and he said, yeah, when they were disposing of old computers, they actually had to run a program that would overwrite the entire drive multiple times. And then afterwards they had to physically take out the drive and actually destroy it, like drill holes in it or, you know, smash it with a hammer or whatever. Yeah. That was the only way to be certain that the data would be unrecoverable, is if you physically destroy the actual disk. Yeah. Oh, there was one there. Oh, I just didn't mark it. Silly me. Ah. Yeah, I was about to attach another thread before I suddenly went, wait a minute. It's already there. Should have remembered that because I stitched with it not too long ago. I know that because there's a needle on here because, yeah, before I started filming, I got everything all tidied up and ready to go. All the needles removed so I could start fresh. Ah, so the neighbors across the street are cleaning out the ducts. Yeah, I can tell because of the truck that's parked there. We did that once. Yeah, when we moved into this house and I discovered that, like, no matter how much I tried, I couldn't keep up with the dust. And so, yeah, they said if that's the case, a lot of times it's good to get all your HVAC system totally cleared out. And so, yeah, they have this truck and they have these, I don't know what you even call them. There's these fabric things. They kind of pop up when they're sucking the dust out. Yeah. They pop out of the top of the truck, and yeah, so you can see that with the neighbors across the street. I don't know if you can hear it. It's pretty loud. To me, anyway. Yeah, they do say you should do it every 10 years, so I probably should do it again because, yeah, the last time we did it, our son was not walking independently yet. Yeah. He could walk while he was, like, pushing his stroller, but, yeah. As he's graduating in a few months, yeah. It's been longer than 10 years. Yeah, when they cleaned out those ducts, they discovered that when the house was built, somebody swept a whole bunch of drywall debris, and even a piece of drywall that was like the size of a book had been sort of scored, broken in half, and stuffed down there because they couldn't be bothered to, I guess, take it to throw it out, so they hid it in the walls. Like, nice. Yeah, and it wasn't little bits. Like, it was like, the debris was like pebbles. Yeah, like the size of marbles swept in there. And it's like, guys, you were sweeping it anyway. You couldn't sweep it in a dustpan and throw it out properly. Nice. Oh, wow. Yeah, there were some shortcuts taken with building this house that my husband has since fixed. We had issues with the wiring, and he's a certified electronics technologist. So, yeah, because the house was wired with aluminum wiring, which they discovered is not good to use when you live in a super cold place like us, because in like the attic and stuff where there's not as much heat, when it's really cold, everything of course contracts, and the wires were fairly brittle and they can break and then arc, and then yeah, you're looking at a fire. And several houses on this block were wired with the aluminum, and there were fires. So yeah. And we were really, really lucky that we avoided one, because I had an outlet that was killing the microwaves before we realized it wasn't the problem of the microwave. Yeah, one died, so I bought a new one. And then, like, within a month, that one died, and I bought another, and then that died, and I thought, okay, either I'm really unlucky with microwaves or something else is going on here. And my husband went to check the outlet, and he said, like, it was melted. It was soft. Yeah. And he's like, okay, so yeah, we are turning the power off to this outlet right now, and we are rewiring the house, because yikes, yeah. So he did that several years ago, and everything has been good since. So, and we had it inspected and everything, and so actually that helped lower our house insurance payment, yes, because it was higher, because of the greater risk of fire, so yeah. Yeah, thank goodness. You know, fingers crossed, knock on wood, we've never dealt with that. Hope never to have to. But yeah, when he was pulling wire through the attic, he said, this must have only passed inspection with like an envelope of money under the table, because he said it was a huge rat's nest, and like, yeah. It was a disaster waiting to happen, so. Now, yeah, I am so glad that he's handy, because the only time we hired people to do anything was when we replaced the roof. Yeah. And even then he did some of the work, so that it was cheaper. Yeah. Yeah, like he did the stripping the old shingles and everything and replacing any boards underneath that needed replacing. And we had a big rainstorm that weekend, so he had to buy a giant tarp to put over our house, which I totally didn't know they made them that big for non-commercial use. Yeah. And we had some friends helping us, and my husband said, yeah, so they're under the tarp, you know, nailing these new plywood boards down or whatever. And he said, and then the wind came and kind of like pushed on the tarp and like flattened them against the roof. He's like, so they had to just sort of lie there, just sort of waiting for the wind to change till they could move again, because it made like a big vacuum. Yeah, they helped us. We helped them when they got a leak in their roof. My husband helped them find and repair it and stuff. So, yeah. Oh, pardon me. Yeah, there is still a lot of this color left on this pattern. Well, 939 is a very commonly used color, that is for sure. Yeah. I got them in the packs of 12, and I have like 7 of them or something sitting in my stash. Yeah. Oh, I bought them all at once. Pardon me, because I didn't want to have to worry about potential dye lot issues, especially when this tends to be used on big patches of color. Yeah, if it's more scattered in confetti, then you don't have to worry as much, but yeah. Pardon me, if it's used in big blocks, yeah, if there's a dye lot issue, it can be really noticeable. Yeah, so just kind of smoothing this out, then I'll probably come up to here and start working a next little strip downwards. But yeah, saying my husband's handy. He built our entertainment room with soundproofing. He redid our bathroom. Yeah. He did basically all the renovations upstairs that we did in the summer, last summer. So yeah. It was funny because I said, I'm so glad you're handy. It's saved us so much, you know, not having to hire contractors. And he just sort of took it for granted because, like, his dad's really handy too. But, yeah. Then he's seen some of the do-it-yourself jobs other people has done. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, everybody isn't as handy. I mean, it's probably fake, but he used to watch Canada's Worst Handyman, and oh my gosh, some of the stuff people did was unbelievable. And I said the worst part is they would even show you how to do it properly first before unleashing the people to try it themselves. And yeah, like there was one, they were replacing a bathtub or something, and the guy didn't even turn the water off to the pipes. He took a sledgehammer, started like bashing at the taps, and it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like I said, I'm not that handy, but even I know you shouldn't do that. Like At the very least, you should be shutting off the water to the bathtub before you start messing with things. Oh my gosh. And like I said, I know reality TV is not that real, and I'm sure a lot of it was staged, but yeah. Like I said, there's no way to make anything completely foolproof because there's always a bigger fool, right? Yeah. There's a reason why we have to have warning labels on things saying, like, do not iron your clothes while you're wearing them. Because you know somebody will, and then sue. Ugh. Okay, I have a whack ton of leftover threads here, so I'm going to use some of them up. So this is line 370 here. I might kind of go a little bit past it depending on how the color flow goes, and then, yeah, like I said, work my way back up. Keep filling in until everything's kind of squared off somewhat. And then it will be time to move the whole frame over. So this is 550 stitches wide, and here is 370, so we're getting there. Still a bit of a ways to go though. Yeah, still like 18 of these big columns to go, so yeah, like I said, I don't think I will finish it by the end of March. Goodness. Sorry, allergies are starting to kick in. Yeah. So just slowly growing out from this edge here. Yeah, I was talking about our house next year. Next summer will mark 20 years living in this house. Yeah, when I was a kid, we moved all the time. And I hated it. Like every year we moved. My dad would find some new job opportunity or something, and yeah. And so I always said that when I had kids, I wasn't going to move them everywhere because I knew how much I hated it. So, yeah, I wanted them to be able to make friends and grow up with them, you know, instead of always being the new kid, because that sucked. So, yeah. I got in trouble when I was about 15, I think. And my parents, you know, sat us down for a family meeting and said, we're moving. And I said, again? And yeah, I got in trouble for it. But I mean, really, I don't think my reaction was unwarranted. Yeah. Like, I went to 13 different schools from kindergarten through to grade 12 graduation. Yeah. The longest we ever lived in one place was 2.5 years. So, yeah, I said I could pack up a house pretty quick. We never had movers do it for us. We always did it ourselves, so, yeah. I had a lot of practice with packing stuff, very young. Yeah, in fact, that's why I kind of had to do a big house purge when we'd been here about 10 years, because I was kind of used to doing it from moving, right? When you move, you realize how much stuff is just junk that you do not want anymore. And, yeah. So living in a place for 10 years, things had really built up. Not so much now. Yeah, I find it was more when my son was really little. We had a lot of toys and things and stuff that he outgrew, right? So, yeah. I tried having a garage sale, but didn't make very much. It was a big pain, so yeah. 2 days, and I think I made about $60. Yeah. So, oh well. I donated the rest of the stuff to the local shelter. So, I mean, at least I know somebody was getting some use out of them, but yeah. Like a lot of the clothes, kids' clothes, were barely worn, right? Because they grow so quickly, yeah. I remember my kid went through, his feet grew 3 sizes in 6 months. It was insane. Yeah. Because I had to buy new shoes because they were too small. One pair of shoes he wore for 6 weeks and they didn't fit anymore. I was like, are you kidding me? Oh. How is it possible to grow that fast? My gosh. That was when he was about, I think, 4. Yeah. Oh, I think. Yeah, I parked that too many stitches over. I think, let me take a look. Yeah. Which means the one I parked here is also wrong. That's why it's a bad habit. I tell myself that I should only park based on the grid lines and not based on what's already parked. Because if I park one wrong, then I park everything else based on that wrong. But I admit, it's a bad habit that I do sometimes. Fortunately, though, with the grid lines, it is not that difficult for me to untangle where I went wrong when I do make a mistake. Sounded like a knot, but I think it came undone as it went through. Just making sure there was no knot in the leg there. Because I don't want that. Okay, so I'm going to fix this one right now before I forget, because I know that I parked it wrong. Yeah. should be 1 stitch over, should be there. Okay. Okay, 501. When my husband poured concrete in the backyard to make a walkway between the house and his garage because it's not attached to the house. Yeah, he put our kiddo's handprint in it. So yeah, one of our friends saw it like, well, you can never move now. Because yeah, he marked it with the date and his name. So yeah, because I mean, come on, you gotta, right? Yeah. Yeah, I remember we had to replace the fence between us and the neighbors because it blew down in the storm. It rotted, and if we didn't have that fence at the back, kiddo could run into the neighbor's yard and then right out into the street. So he was like 3 or something. Yeah, so we had to replace that. And I remember my husband was digging the holes to put the posts in again. And our son wanted to help, and he tumbled in like head first, and my husband thought, oh no, right? And he went to go rescue him, and then he sees little bits of dirt flying out, and our kiddo was still digging. He was perfectly content upside down in that hole, digging away. He wasn't upset or anything. It was funny. Yeah, and actually the neighbors were on holiday at that time, so when they came back and they saw the fence, they said, oh, thank you so much, and they reimbursed us for part of the cost since, you know, shared expense. Yeah, they since moved away. They were an older couple, and he retired about 3-4 years ago, so they moved to be closer to their grown children and grandchildren. So yeah, I think my father-in-law retired this year, or he's about to, and yeah, he's looking at selling the house because yeah, it's too big for just him, and he's potentially thinking of moving to be closer to us because yeah, the grandkids are all here. So yeah, well, they raised 6 kids, and yeah, so far the oldest 2 have had kids, so we have the one, but my husband's brother, the next oldest, they have 7. So yeah, big family. And their oldest, my niece, actually got married last May. Yeah, which I'm just like, holy cow, how are you old enough to be getting married? And then I realized, well, you're older than I was when I got married, so yeah, I kind of can't really say anything. Yeah, it's hard to believe it will be our 25th in a couple of years. Just like, what? Because yeah, when my husband and I first started dating, his parents had just celebrated their 25th like a couple years before. So how the heck is it ours coming up? Time really does just fly on by, doesn't it? Okay, so yeah, as you can see, I kind of smoothed that out. So what I may do is, I think, yeah, come up to this sort of little bit of indentation here, and I'm going to start sort of working that next section because, as I said, I decided to make a cutoff right about here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reset. So take all my needles off. the threads. And yeah, sort of neaten things up here. Oh, that's interesting. There we go. So I have multiple magnets here, and I just kind of wrap the threads around loosely to help keep them organized. And yeah, I am going to sort of fill in a bit here, and then fill in a bit here, and then at that point I'm going to shift the whole frame over, but that won't be today. Yeah, probably be a couple days from now. There we go. Not that that really matters that much because I would stitch over it, so. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to use my neti pot today. Yeah, we don't have pollen flying yet, but we do have snow mold. Yeah, it basically grows between the layers of snow, and then when it melts, it gets released. Yeah, all the spores, and yeah, it's not nice. Yeah, I did not know that was a thing until we moved out here to the prairies. Yeah, I posted about it once on Facebook, and I had a friend who's like, "Snow what now?" Yeah. Yeah, I think, yes, I think so. A dark blue of an eye motif is here, and I'm working sort of the stitches that are around it. And then I will work the eye itself. Okay, so kind of work along that edge there, because I like to not close things in. Oh, silly me. I should have crossed that as I went. I was not thinking, yeah. Because I want the thread to actually end up at the top and not back down where I started. That's okay. I realized it before I did too many bottom legs, so it's all good. And what I might actually do is start kind of working more vertically for a little bit here. Yeah. Okay, just taking a look here. All right, again, let's see how long this piece is. Not terribly. Okay. Oh, we're getting closer to the end of this color, although I think, yeah, we won't be getting a 0 yet because I can see there's at least one stitch that is in the pass below this one. So yeah, sort of this area, I might just sort of cut it off here rather than have to do all those colors there. I might leave those for after I shift everything over. trying to knot up, but caught it. Why don't I stitch to a even 200? I actually had 2 before I started because, yeah, I had a slight technical difficulty, which I discovered after I started, but I mean, 2 stitches done is not really much of a head start, right? Yeah. Might as well be 0. Picked up the wrong one. That's the one I just set aside. Well, actually, I said exactly 200, but I guess I'll stitch to 200 on camera because this will make 202 before this thread runs out. So yeah. Strand can get a little more twisted at the end, so yeah, just have to take more care to get it to lie flat. All right, there, so 202. So I did exactly 200 on camera. So thanks so much for joining me today, and hope to see you here next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye.